Back over here in the bathroom, and I've got this wall pretty much good to go. I had to smear a couple of spots, and that corner still needs a little bit of work, but that'll be ready for paint tomorrow. So now I'm working on the shower. I've got the laser out and marked where my grout lines are going to go. Now I can get this niche sorted. Now this is a stairwell, so all this is going to be load bearing. So I'm going to have to put a header in here and add a king and a jack stud on either side of that as well, and then run a board across here for the bottom, which that one can just be a single layer board. That's only going to be holding the weight of the niche, no big deal. But I am going to need to put that header beam in to hold the weight from these two studs, transfer them over. There'll be one here and one over here, and there'll be, like I said, a header across there, and these two new studs will hold the weight of these studs that I'm going to be cutting this portion out of there. So that's what I got going on. Also, I've cut the tile out of here because the new shower is going to come flush out with this wall where the other one was set back in there. So that's where we're at. And that's what I got going on. All right, so I'm measuring for my shower pan. So my Kerdi pan's got to get cut down to 40 inches by 60 inches. And then I just took a look at my Kerdi drain, and I'm going to have to dig this out a little bit and cut that down to move that pipe down as well for this drain to work and not be sticking up way too tall. So have to do that bit of plumbing to be able to get this thing in here as low as possible. Now I'm cutting my Kerdi pan to size. So you use a razor knife and you score the styrofoam on the back side, and then you could probably cut the front side as well. But what I'm doing is leaving the Kerdi paper in place and just peeling it off of the styrofoam, and that way I can have this come up the stud wall, and then my waterproof board can come down on top of it like a shingle effect, making it much more waterproof than if I just taped and sealed my corners. So in my mind, this is definitely the way to go. Comment down below if I'm right or wrong, or you do it a different way. All right, back down here, got some lumber. So the first thing I did was measure from this sill plate up to where this cut is going to be. And I took that number and I subtracted a 2x6 and a 2x4 from it. It brings me down to 71 3/16. So there'll be my two jack studs. And then I've got to cut the rest of this stuff out of here. But first I'm going to cut my 2x6 and 2x4 to width to build my header. Then I'll get these things cut out of here and go ahead and get the new structure put in so we can have our niche. So I've got those two studs cut out, and I've got my header and jack studs mocked into place. I've got this piece of board put in here. I'm going to cut a piece for across here and across here as well. And I need to get the head off of this Tapcon because this jack stud has to come over some in order to get it level. So I just got to pop that head off of there. And then this one came in a little bit too far, so I'll put a screw in here and use a hammer and pull that back out to that edge. And then secure all this into place. And then the Schluter niche slides right into there. And then I'll put the rest of my waterproof go board up after I put the shower pan in, which is going to require some plumbing work. So yeah, got my work cut out for me. I've got the first two pieces of go board up, leaving the bottom off for now because, like I said, first I got to deal with that plumbing and then the base, then the rest of the walls will go in. I've got the niche mocked into place, and I just noticed when I do this plumbing over here, I've got to redo the supply line to the commode as well because they put a one-piece fiberglass in here, so they were too lazy to drill that pipe through the stud. So now I'm going to have to cut that and drill it through the stud. So no big deal, just a little extra work. And I've sanded all this and we're ready for paint. So that whole wall and that whole wall are going to get painted a different color than the rest of the room. All right, so the niche is all framed out, screwed into place, and then I got a piece of go board up on the wall here, and then it's cut out so the niche can go in. Now I can screw in around the niche and a couple more in the edge of this go board, and then the bottom of the go board needs a few more, and then I can put my next piece of go board in, and then after that I've got to start working on the plumbing. So opening up this drain, I used my Milwaukee industrial hammer drill. I drilled small holes around the perimeter, and then I chipped some away with the chipping hammer, and then I drilled bigger holes around and then put the chipping hammer back on again. And with that, you're able to get a nice, you can see this is really round, as close as you're going to get it. So now that drain will come in here and just be perfect. So I'll have to dig a little bit of this out still, because like I said, I've got to cut this off down here because this all has to get lowered to fit the shower drain and have this thing be just as low as possible, because we want to not have a ginormous curb or anything like that, a big step into here. I'll be cutting down that curb to the minimum height that it can be. So we're going to get this drain good and low, and everything is turning up aces. I've got my second sheet of go board on there. Everything is screwed in. The niche is in place. So this drain was the next step. Then I'm going to need to cut off the main water so I can do that plumbing there. But I'm going to change gears right now because the homeowner's going out of town. So I'm just going to wait for them to go out of town to shut the water off. That way I don't have to worry about getting it turned back on quickly. I could take my time and get the job done perfect. So right now I'm going to switch to